Greetings, this is NuNuu Smith, and I am on the line with Mr. Tremaine France, a.k.a. The Motivator, also the co-founder and president of Driven to Inspire. Good evening.
Good evening, good evening.
How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm enjoying a little bit of downtime.
Okay, so what are you doing right now, like right now?
I am currently on Facebook right now on my iPad. Yes, I just recently uploaded one of my most recent motivational speaking events. So I just pretty much been sharing it, with some of my friends. So I'm actually going to stop right now so I can enjoy this interview.
That's a great segue into my first official question is what or who inspired you to become a motivator, a motivational speaker? Because I wouldn't imagine that that's an easy task. I mean, for me, I look at it as an art form. Not everyone can do it. So who or what inspired you to become the motivator?
I think it was just my personal journey. I realized from growing up these last 7 years of my life through coaching, and I'm coaching the youth, and I also coached a little bit when I was in college. So actually coaching was the first time that I really started transitioning to motivational speeches, the pregame. And I actually got the name The Motivator from one of my coaches on the coaching staff, because before the game we would actually do our pregame speeches, and I would really just personalize those messages for each and every game. And then one of the coaches, he was like, I'm gonna start calling you The Motivator because you just you get so pumped up that you even have the coaches ready to go play. And from that moment, I kind of just embraced the motivator and then transitioned that whole motivational component to my day-to-day activity. But in regards to my profession, without getting too spiritual, when I really accepted Christ in my life, he started really working with me and utilizing me in a different manner. So before I accepted Christ in my life, I always tell people I really wasn't a bad person, but I was just kind of doing what I had to do to get through my day. But then when I really started accepting Christ in my life, he started really adding value to day-to-day conversations and interaction with other people. So I kind of put together the motivator with now how God's using me on my day-to-day journey, and now that's how we get the motivational movement.
And you coach football, I'm guessing?
Yes, I started off coaching football. I first actually started off coaching on a college level, and then I wound up coaching the youth in Hampton, Connecticut, and I coached Pop Warner football for about 4 years. And now I'm currently actually coaching basketball. So I'm going on my second year coaching basketball, and those two sports were my main sports that I enjoyed playing when I grew up. So now it's a blessing to be able to actually give back and coach.
Now you speak to not only sports teams, I'm guessing you go to churches, you speak to high school students. Is there any limit to who you will go and speak to? Because some people, they feel some motivational speakers are more inclined to speak to the older people, to the older crowd who they can relate to. We speak to the little kids. You speak to anybody?
Yeah, so now what I'll do is the youngest group, in regards to a large mass of students that I've spoken to is 5th graders. And it was an awesome experience just speaking to the 5th graders, because what I do is I don't give them that same intensity that I might give our youth or young adult, but I'll give them kind of the meaningful message behind it and more of that lighthearted spirit so that they could take something away from it. All of the messages that I try to relay to people is just pretty much about empowerment. So when we start thinking about speaking to adults, I humbly embrace the fact that it's a blessing, because at my age of being 29, being a minority, it's actually a blessing, the respect factor that I have earned from elders or the wiser, and not just from minorities, but from all individuals who are from different cultures. And I don't make that about me, but I think it's based on my humility, and it's based on the fact that I utilize those opportunities as not for me just to give, but it's the fact of that give and take. So I'm asking questions as we're building our conversation, and I'm not just sitting there lecturing and acting like I know everything. I'm asking questions and also remaining a sponge in that conversation or dialogue, which kind of makes those experiences priceless.
Now, I watched a few of your videos, the motivational speaking videos that are on YouTube, and in one of them you pull out a blue weighted vest. And I thought that was very interesting, and what you said about the vest was very inspiring. And can you explain first what made you connect the vest with such a motivational thought, something of such encouragement?
I enjoy working out, so I've embraced that whole fitness lifestyle, and I realized that when I actually started thinking about, because I utilize that vest when I work out, and if it's a 75-pound weighted vest, and when you work out with it, it's actually, it's heavy on you. If you utilize it throughout your workout, it wears on you, but eventually, once you take off the vest, you feel lighter. you're actually stronger and quicker on your feet. When I remember about 2 years ago, that's when I really started using a vest in the motivational speaking event, and I really wanted to reflect how the vest was symbolic of the pressures of life. You know, and sometimes, you know, we as individuals, we take on those pressures of life, and sometimes we don't even acknowledge them, but we just go through our day-to-day activity. We go through, you know, our own personal journey, and we don't realize the pressure that we have on our hearts and on our souls and our shoulders. So what I usually like to do when I speak to individuals, I like to highlight those situations. I'm not a firm believer of brushing things under the carpet and saying, well, just deal with it. I feel like if you identify your issues or your challenges or your obstacles, once you identify them, then you could create a game plan to actually start, you know, knocking down some of those barriers. So the vest, certain people are visual learners. Certain people need to actually see it. So it's one thing to go up there and say, oh, these are the pressures, but it's another thing to actually use that vest and have someone put that vest on and feel it. And then once they feel it, then I usually like to connect that with the activities such as doing push-ups. And now we'll use the vest to have someone actually do like push-ups, and then we'll actually connect that message with like pushing through the pressures of life, or, you know, and maybe in the speech that you've seen, you would also see the audience. So we also utilize the audience to say, look, sometimes when we have the pressures of life against us and we have to press through, we need that support system around us to encourage us to keep going. So that's how we actually started connecting the vest to the motivational speaking event.
Yeah, that was definitely motivational for me, because I am such a visual person, and I know that there are so many other visual people. You can get up there and talk to me all day, and it means nothing quick, but as soon as I can really see it and I can get an idea of, I know what that feels like. I've been weighed down, and I can see the vest and that representing the pressures of life. You know, it definitely does all connect. So I think that was a very good idea, to connect the visual to your words. What would you say for you are the maybe top 3 most important things when it comes to motivational speaking?
The first, I think, and most important aspect that I always try to make sure that I'm doing is being genuine. There's one thing to actually genuinely care about what someone's going through and figure out a way to be able to help them, and then compared to actually saying, oh, I'm the motivator, and any person that I see, I have a message for. You know, people don't want you running up to them, always just giving them this speech and this lecture. So it's kind of like having, you know, that genuineness to say, look, you know, if you're willing to listen to me, I'll be willing to share my perspective to you. Or sometimes it's just a fact of offering an open ear. And certain times people need to hear how they feel or what they're thinking. So what I'll do most of the time is, if someone ever comes to me, and, you know, they'll reach out to me, the first thing I'm doing is listening. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say, well, this is what you need to do. I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to just try to walk you through your situation or your predicament, and then from there, then we could actually start figuring out how we can help one another. Because a lot of times with this whole motivational movement and being a motivational speaker and being a motivator, this whole journey has not only helped other people, but it has helped me. Because now with me being conscious of my lifestyle, because I can't have a hypocritical lifestyle where I'm sitting out here telling people that they could be destined for greatness and they could do great things and they should give themselves a fighting chance to be successful, but my lifestyle is living a fast lane, is doing things that don't give me a fighting chance to be my best. So, you know, actually the motivational movement and this blessing that I have as being a motivational speaker has actually helped me as well, because now I'm more focused on being my best so that I can offer the best assistance to other people.
Very interesting. There's always someone, when you start getting to the public eye, I think a lot of people forget that there's always someone watching. Because it's not always somebody you know. A lot of times you are positively or negatively affecting a lot of people that you don't even know of, especially in the social networking age where I have almost 3,000 friends, but do I really know any of these people firsthand? And even though I may not know them firsthand, you know, they're still watching me. So that's, I think that's what we have to realize. So you as a motivational speaker, you do really have to watch what you say and watch what you do, whereas in another form of artistry, you may not have to watch so much. Like a comedian or something. You may not have to. People are expecting to hear crazy things come out of your mouth. People are expecting crazy posts and crazy pictures. But for you, you know, you really have to present yourself. And you do. You present yourself very well. Your statuses are very motivational. Everything that I've seen that you do is very motivational. And I want to thank you for that, and I want to commend you for that. Because You're
Thank you. And that it comes with pressure, you know, because I'll be the first to tell people I'm not perfect. I think one of the, you know, the best things that has happened to me is the fact that I'm blessed with diversity. And I was speaking to a friend of mine, and it was just the fact of me being able to be blessed with the opportunity of reaching different people from different demographics. You know, I have tattoos, you know, so, you know, and I'm just really blessed with the opportunity of being able to have my light to be able to reach individuals. So that young man who has a tattoo but thinks that, you know, he can't be a Christian or go to church, that individual who, you know, likes to play basketball or is, you know, or attracted to females doesn't realize that, you know, well, you could be attracted to females, but eventually you should strive to start settling down. You know, those kind of things. Being an athlete, and, you know, you don't have, just because you're an athlete doesn't mean that you're a jock. You could be educated and get a degree. And I think for, you know, individuals who are older, you know, or wiser, or who have traveled life's journey longer than me, I think that they see something within me that's like, okay, well, maybe I don't look like you, or maybe I don't speak like you, or maybe we're not from the same community, but your genuineness and your love and your humility actually is something that intrigues me. So now I'm willing to work with you. Has been like a phenomenal thing that comes with a lot of pressure, because now I'm constantly, you know, looking myself in the mirror, making sure that I'm putting forth my best foot. And then sometimes when the pressures of life get to me, you know, I get on my knees and I pray. And then, you know, my fiance, you know, she'll look at me and she'll be like, you know, babe, this is what you signed up for. This is the lifestyle that you want. You know, and then I'll look myself in the mirror and you'll be like, and I'll tell myself, you know, she's right. And then I'll dust my shoulders off and I'll get back to, you know, contributing in any way that I can to be my best and help others become their best.
Great. Another great segue. Support is very important, especially for people in the public eye like you are. How important is the support of your family and now your fiance in what you do?
It's huge. It's huge. And I was just talking to one of my mentees last night. Before I got to this point, though, I had to go through a phase of a little bit of isolation, though, to find myself. You know, I had to actually get my routine down. I had to get my lifestyle down. I had to calm myself down a little bit, you know, and when I went through that transition of actually going from, you know, a college student to actually into the real world, you know, usually that happens for most people, but for me, I actually really secluded myself for a little while, and not in a form of depression, but in the form of just like getting my work schedule down, working on some of my, you know, things that I needed to really get right within me. So now that I can stand on my two own feet. And now once I got to that point of me being able to stand on my two own feet, knowing that my routine was down packed, knowing that I was disciplined in certain areas of my life, now I was willing to open up my door again to certain people who could come, whether that was friends or family, because certain people within your family, they don't have their situations yet, right? So if you keep them too close to you, sometimes you take on those pressures. Sometimes, you know, you're not really willing or able to make sure that you're right because you're so focused on helping the next person around you. So I think it's kind of like the dual benefit of being able to get yourself right, but once you get right, making sure that you don't, you know, stray too far ahead or too far behind within your family. Because my family, my parents, you know, I commend them. I tell them I love them so much, especially my father. My father, you know, he raised me to become a man. So when I was a child, he like I had to do chores. There, you know, there was no sleeping in, and when I was younger, I resented that. You know, I didn't understand everything that he was raising me to become. So the responsibilities that he put on my shoulders at a young age, I kind of resented growing up. But now, as I'm as an older man, I look at that and I call him, I text him, and I just tell him thanks, because sometimes you see individuals, unfortunately, out there who didn't have that same guidance or structure, and now they're within their 20s still trying to find those things that maybe they would have been in a better place if they had that assistance earlier. So support from the early ages of life are very vital to really becoming your best or becoming successful.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I'm gonna throw three, phrases out to you, one at a time, and I want you to speak on those three phrases. Speak in life and share in love.
Say that one more time, please.
Speak in life and share in love.
speaking life and sharing love. That's awesome. So I go by that, actually, speak life and share love. Speaking life is seeing the best in people. You know, a lot of people, words are very powerful. You know, and that's one thing that I did take away from this whole motivation.
Hello?
Is the impact.
Hello?
Yes, are you?
Hold on. Start that response over again. It kind of cut out.
Okay. So I was just pretty much saying, words are very powerful. So the whole speak life, people can use words as a weapon to defend themselves or be aggressive, or sometimes words can be utilized to be able to uplift. So speak life, when I hear that, I think of speaking life into you. When I speak to you, I want to speak the best into you. I want to speak empowerment. I want to speak words of encouragement to you. You know, when I see you, I can either say, you know, hard times are hard, life is hard, I have this 9 to 5, or I can say, you know what, today's a blessed day. You know, I'm striving to be my best. And then if I see you, I'm going to tell you, you know, have a blessed day. I see you doing your best. You know, if you're good, you can become great. You know, so a lot of people, when they, you know, I think with me, it's always those words of encouragement, is that positive tone. So that's speaking life into someone, speaking another fresh breath of life into someone. So when they walk away from that conversation, they feel like, wow, well, maybe my day wasn't going so well, but that conversation for 2 minutes actually took away some of the pressures of life, and now I can take that next step moving forward. And then the sharing love is that, I think what we were speaking about earlier, is that genuineness. If, you know, it's that compassion. You know, when I actually pray to start my day, I pray for, you know, guidance, and I pray actually for compassion and genuineness, because I don't want to be a cookie cutter. I don't want to be a dude out there who, you know, is just not genuine. I really don't care about you, but it looks good. You know, I'm very conscious of that. That's why, you know, I listen first and speak second, because, you know, I don't have everything. I don't have every answer, but I can help you. And that's the genuineness of me from deep down in my heart, that, you know, even if I don't have the answer, I'm willing to help you find those answers or help you become your best. That's that love component.
Driven to inspire.
Driven to inspire is driven to inspire is that cake in the oven. You know, it's something sweet on the way. Like, driven to inspire, we're 3 years, you know, blessed with 3 fortunate years. But it all started with an idea. But, you know, I still do, you know, I still have another job that I have that I enjoy. It's a profession, it's a blessing, and I see the best out of it. You know, and other members of the team of Driven to Inspire, we're all focused on different professional endeavors. But it's like we're eating our meal. Our main meal is our 9 to 5. You know, when we're doing our 9 to 5, or we're doing something that, because unfortunately Driven to Inspire isn't at a point yet to be able to be full time for us. So I look at Driven to Inspire as like that dessert that's on the way. You know, so that when we will get to that point where we could be actually doing motivational speaking services and trainings and workshops and traveling and helping different high schools and colleges and professional organizations around the country, you know, on a consistent base, that's going to be the ultimate blessing, with no without any restrictions. So that's like on the future. That's going to come up. So it's actually something that's on the sweet, you know, in the oven, something sweet on the way.
Okay. The evolution of life.
I'm currently working on my book, my first book, and the evolution of life, I was going to actually title it The Evolution of Life, because the evolution of life is like the changing process of life, is the, you know, the highs, the lows, and the highs again, is the adversity. And when I think about the evolution and the changing factors, I think about me, because I've had people who personally knew me then and know me now and be like, Tremaine, what happened? Like, you changed. Like, you aren't the same dude even in college. Like, you changed, and that's not me. I contribute to that, but that's from the inside out. And I feel like if I could personally, you know, make a 360 change for the better in certain areas, the most vital areas of my life, I could change those, you know, and become the man that's actually speaking to you tonight. If I could do that, anyone could do that. But what we have to do is we have to be honest with ourselves and say, if we have an issue, if we have obstacles, if we have habits or addictions that are going to impede us from being our best, we have to be real with ourselves, and then we actually have to put in that work to actually start making a change. But if we make that change, life is really a blessing. But if we don't make that change, we're going to go through those day-to-day struggles, and we're never going to see the ultimate blessings of life. So within the book that I am working on, and when I hear the evolution of life, I'm like, we all have the potential to make progress. We all have the potential to change for the better, but the decision will be up to us if we really are willing to do that and put those steps after one another to become our best.
Absolutely, absolutely agree. You got to put in the work. And speaking of work, I have one more for you. Hard work grind.
Is that hard work grind? I breathe that. Nothing. I feel like anything worth having should be worth grinding for. So anything worth having, you would always hear anything worth having should be worth fighting for. Well, anything worth having should be worth grinding for. And I think that for the most valuable things in life, you should be willing to make certain sacrifices. You should be willing to, put your head down, pin your ears back, and press forward. I think anything, especially life. And a lot of people in the last, one of the last events that I had, I was speaking to the audience, and I was like, people might say that it's a little overboard, but if you really think about life, it can't be, we can't treat life, and unfortunately some people do, we treat life like we're good if we do, we're good if we don't. But the harsh reality is life and time isn't going to stop for anyone. So people think that, well, if I just give up and not throw my hands up in the air, life is going, I can just deal with it. But unfortunately, we're still going to have to grind. We're still going to have to figure out how we're going to get that next meal, where we're going to get that next shelter at, where we're going to get that next paycheck from. So if we're going to have to go through those pressures of life anyway, we might as well put in that hard work grind to be our best, so that at day's end, if those circumstances and our cards don't get dealt to us the best way that we desire, at least we could say that we put forth all of our hard work to become our best, and this is where we stand. But unfortunately, sometimes people don't, and people just take the easy way out. The hard work grind, it prevents me from taking any easy way out. No excuses, no days off. Get my butt up, go to the gym, even when I'm tired. Get my butt up, read a book, write another page for my, my book, or actually post another video, or, or have this extra conversation. It's that hard work grind. And I believe at a day's end, if not only if I do it, but if people embracing that hard work grind, they'll be destined for greatness and whatever, God has planned for them.
Okay. Hard work grind, yes. Okay. What kind of, seeing as the magazine is focused towards artists of all types and all genres at all levels of their artistry, and you are a motivational speaker and artist in and of yourself, what kind of motivational words do you have for our readers or those who will be listening to this interview, especially those who are artists? And a lot of times as an artist, it's really hard to see. You put in the hard work, you grind and everything, but sometimes it's a little hard to see that light at the end of the tunnel. And some people are really lacking that motivation. Some people are self-motivated, but some people really need a push. What kind of advice would you give them who really need that push, who can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, who are maybe lacking that self-motivation? What could you tell them to kind of light their fire?
The first thing is you have to do a little soul searching. We all have to do soul searching, because if we don't really do any soul searching, we have to figure out what we want. You have to figure out what you want in life. Before you can figure out where you're going, you have to figure out where you're at. And if an individual isn't at where they want to be, then they have to figure out where they want to go. And then they have to actually figure out how they're going to get there. See, the formulas of success, the formulas of being your best, even though it sounds cliche, but at a day's end, like we were just speaking about, the matter is you have to really believe in yourself before anyone else can believe in you. You have to actually say, you know what, I'm going to put in this work. You know what, because where I'm at, I'm not happy. But unfortunately, sometimes, whether you're an artist or whether you're just living life and you're doing what your profession, entitled or entails for you to do, in a day's end, you have to be real with yourself and where you're at. So now you could say, okay, this is where I'm at. I don't want to work at Walmart or, McDonald's for the rest of my life. Or you know what, I don't have a job yet and I need a job. Okay, that's where you're at right now. So now what's your next step? Well, maybe if you don't have a job, maybe you have to go actually apply to those jobs of Walmart, McDonald's, and that's a great opportunity, a great stepping stone for you. But if you're at McDonald's or Walmart and you want more, now you actually have to figure out what's your next step. So if you want to be a manager, maybe you actually have to go to school. Okay, so now do I need to go to school and actually get my associates, or do I need a bachelor's, or do I need a master's? Okay, so now you know now you know the game. Now you know what game you're playing. And now actually the actual plays and execution is the fact of you going, filling out the application, or of you going, you know, and writing that song if you're an artist, or painting, you know, that picture, or doing whatever, or poetry, writing that poem. Now it's actually figuring out your action steps. And then the ball will always be in our court. You know, I'm sorry. But in regards to the factors of life, the ball's always going to get put back in our court. And it's going to be a matter of how bad we want it. That will to win. If you have the will to be your best, if you have the will to press through that storm, then that storm will pass. That storm will be a lot longer if you sit stagnant, wish, and just pray. And that's my whole thing with a lot of people. And I was just telling my mom, she's like, you know, I've been praying. I said, Mom, I said, after you pray, you got to get up and get out. You know, you can't just sit here and say, I'm praying, and then hope and wish while you on the couch. You got to pray, then you got to get out, and then you got to make moves. And then God will be able to work with you from there. He can't work with you from the comfort of your couch. He can't work with you from the comfort of a computer. You got to get out and make moves. So, you know, to answer your question, to summarize just pretty much what I was saying, for any artist, believe in yourself. And then the next thing what I would encourage you to do is actually create a game plan. It's one thing to say, I want to be an artist, I want to be successful, but how are you going to get there? That blueprint to your success is very important. Once you create that blueprint, then you have to execute it. When I speak to athletes, when I go speak to individuals, I tell them the most important thing that you have to do is execute. If you're not the biggest, the strongest, the fastest, if you don't have the best team, what will give you a fighting chance is execution. You have to execute on the game plan. So if you're an artist, you have to execute on your blueprint to success. Believe in yourself, create the game plan, and execute the game plan, and then at the day's end, you will be your best, because that's what greatness is. Greatness is about putting forth your best effort, and at the day's end, when the casket drops, you can say, I did all that I could do to become my best, and these were the cards that God and life dealt me.
Very well. Before we wrap this up, is there anything that we didn't cover that you would like to cover?
No, I humbly thank you for this opportunity. These things don't just happen coincidentally. They're blessings to me. And I just first and foremost thank you for seeing something in me in regards to being able to share my perspective with not only you, but whoever we share, you know, this footage with. It's an amazing opportunity. And I want to see people become their best. I want to see your work. I've also, you know, did some research on your movement that you have going on, and it's a phenomenal movement. I think it's awesome and it's amazing. I look forward to speaking to you and working with you potentially moving forward, you know, as we both continue to grow professionally.
So I want to thank you for sitting on the chat box with me and sharing all of your words, and I'm motivated. Thank you, and blessings. I won't say good luck because I don't believe in luck. It's all blessings, and everything that you do, keep moving, keep motivating, and I'll be keeping my eye on you and on your statuses because they're very motivational. And just thank you.